We're going to use another flipped lesson. This is section 2 of chapter 4, so it's 4.2, Areas of Triangles. So if you could please copy this title down and the picture, hopefully you remember how to calculate the area of a triangle. Again, if you need to pause the video, go ahead and pause while you write your notes and then press play when you're ready to move on. So 4.2, Areas of Triangles. So we're going to figure out how to calculate the area of a triangle. So first you have to remember the formula. So the formula, area equals 1/2 base times height. So you should see that formula. Write that down. Copy down the picture as well. And how do you know which of those is height and which of those is the base? Well, the height always forms a right angle with the base. So if you look, you see there's a right angle. And then you have the base and the height form right angles with each other. And we're going to practice this, so don't worry. So go ahead and write down some notes. When you're ready to move on, we'll move on. If you have a question, go ahead and write that down on the side, and we'll go over that tomorrow. Here's our first example. So go ahead and write this down in your notebook. Example 1, I want to find the area of this triangle. So I always write down the formula so that I don't make a mistake. So again, my formula, area equals 1/2 base times height, and we just said that the base and the height form right angles. So remember, this sign says that's a right angle or a 90-degree angle. So the bottom is usually the base, so that's my base. And then my height in this case would be 8 inches. So that's the height. So area equals 1/2, plug in your base. If it helps, you can keep perspective by putting it over 1. And my height is 8, and again I'm going to put that over 1 to keep perspective. Now I can cross cancel to make the math easier. I know 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I know my area is 5 times 4, which is 20. But don't forget your units, inches, and because I multiply them times each other, it's going to be inches squared. So I need to make sure in my final answer I have a number, I have units, and in this case, because it's area, it's squared because it was base times height, or inches times inches, which becomes inches squared. Again, write this down in your notebook. If you need to pause the video, pause the video. When you're ready to move on, move on. Here's your first example that you're going to do. So you're going to write this in your notebook. You're going to write down the formula. You're going to find the answer. Once you have that answer, you're going to put your answer in the text box on the right. So again, don't forget, in your answer should have a number. So I need a number, and I need units. So in this case, my units are feet. And because it was feet times feet, it has to be squared. So go ahead, put that in the text box on the right. You'll probably need to pause the video. When you're ready to move on, go ahead and move on. Here's another one for you to try on your own. So again, copy the picture down in your notebook, solve, and then when you're ready, you put the answer in the text box on the right. So pause the video, solve, and then enter in your answer. Don't forget to have a number with units, and those units should be squared because we're looking at the area. Again, it helps if you write down the formula first. So you're going to copy this down into your notebook. So you might want to pause the video right now. Copy down the pictures, so the title, area of a triangle. Copy down the 3 pictures, and then the text on the bottom, and it says the height forms a right angle with the base. So remember to find the height and the base. You're going to have a right angle. So there's my right angle. So here's my height and my base. Here's my right angle. So the bottom is usually the base. Here's my height. This is a little weird, but here's my right angle. So here's my base. And then they show you that if I make a straight line this way and this way, I would get my height. So again, copy these down into your notebook so you have this as a reference. Please copy example 2 down into your notebook with the picture. Again, you might need to pause the video. Then we're going to solve this. So we want to find the area of our triangle. Again, it's good practice. Write down the formula, area equals 1/2 base times height. I look to find my base and my height by where my right angle is. Here's my right angle. Therefore, the bottom is usually the base, and then the other one's the height. Now I just plug in my numbers. Area equals 1/2 base. And again, if it helps keep perspective, you can put the 1 on the bottom to keep it in the right spot. And my height is 9. Now I can cross cancel to make the math easier. 12 divided by 2 is 6. I only do that once. I've used up my 2. I can't use it again. So area equals 1 times 6 times 9. I know 6 times 9 is 54. I have my number. I have my units, which in this case is meters, and then I square that. So that is my final correct answer. So please write that down in your notebook. Again, if you have questions, write a side note so that we can go over that during class. Now you have some that you're going to do on your own. So again, copy this into your notebook, solve it. So you're going to pause the video while you're doing all of that, then write the answer in the text box on the right. Don't forget, your answer needs to have a number, units, and your units are probably squared. Okay, so here's a fun word problem. We want to calculate the area of the blue butterfly wings, so that's up here, and the area of the red butterfly wings. So, whoops, there's no numbers on this one. So, let's say that the height is 2 and the base is 2. So here again, I'm looking, there's my right angles. So let's do the blue butterfly first. So gosh, should we do that in blue? Let's do that in blue. So it's going to be area equals 1/2 base times height. In this case, it's 1/2. The base is 2 and the height is 1. So the area of the blue butterfly wing is 1 centimeter squared. Now let's calculate the area of the red butterfly wing. So area is still 1/2 base times height. Here I have a height of 2, so area equals 1/2 2. And my height is also 2. So I'm going to cross cancel those, so the area equals 2. Well, gosh, how much bigger is the red butterfly compared to the blue butterfly? So it's a 1:2 ratio. So the red is 2 times twice as big because it's a 1:2 ratio. So go ahead, write that in your notebook. If you need to pause the video, pause it. If you need to rewind, go ahead and rewind. And again, you don't need to be an expert. We're going to go over all this at class. This is just so that you have some information before we get started. So now you're going to do one on your own. I want you to estimate or calculate really the, we're estimating because we're saying here's our triangle. So what is the area of this leaf? So we can estimate it by drawing that triangle in there. So again, write down your formula. Calculate this. Make sure you have a number, units. Your units need to be squared, and your answer should be in the text box on the right. So pause the video if you need to, and then type in your answer. Then you should see one more text box after that. If you have any questions, please write your questions in that text box. And I'll see you tomorrow.